Hello, this is Sarah from the Mount Airy branch of the Carroll County Public Library. Thanks for joining me for Digital Collections Bootcamp. Today we will be talking about auto repair. You can find our online auto repair resources by hovering over Collections and then under Digital Collections, clicking the link for online research. Then once there, we'll scroll down to the car and small engine repair category, and under premium resources, the two resources we're going to be looking at today are both AllData Pro and Chilton Library. AllData Pro is a great resource for detailed automotive diagnostic and car repair information. From the link here under online research databases, you'll see that there's a username and password. So when you log in, you'll click the link and then you'll log in using that data. I've already entered it, but before you enter AllData from home, make sure you review that information on the link there with the login information. And so you'll see once we pull up AllData Pro, there's going to be a highlight here of new highlights to what they've added to the database. And there's three main sections here: repair, community, and quote. So repair is probably where you're going to spend most of your time. This is, of course, the car repair information. The first thing you need to do to get started is you need to start by selecting a car, selecting a vehicle, and then everything else you do beyond selecting the vehicle will be related to that vehicle. So for instance, I'd like to check out a car that I no longer have but used to have. We'll do a 2002 Subaru Impreza Outback Sport. Is actually what it was. And then this will be based on the transmission, the engine, 2.5 liter engine. We'll go ahead and click that link. So I'm saying, yes, this is the car I'd like to look up the information for. And then you're presented with a whole host of information. So there's diagnostic trouble codes. As you know, most of the computers in the cars now will throw back trouble codes that you can then look up and see what they mean for your specific vehicle. There are service tables, safety bulletins, different wiring diagrams, specifications, parts and labor, and maintenance information. And so basically whatever kind of information you're looking for, so let's say I'm looking for a specific safety bulletin, a technical service bulletin. So here you'll see, I can see the bulletins listed by number. For instance, so if you've received a service bulletin in the mail and you want to read more information about it, which they might send you if you're listed as the original owner of a car, you can look that information up there. You can see the date actually of the service bulletin and then the title. So there was actually one that I had found before. It's this WWK94, and you'll see as I started to type, it sort of filled in some suggestions for me. So if I click the link for the service bulletin, I can review the details of the bulletin itself, what cars are affected. You can see a copy of the letter that the owners received. So AllData is a great resource also for professional mechanics because it has such detailed information. So this is really nice to see if you are somebody who's working on another person's vehicle. It's nice to see what they received so you understand why they're bringing the car to you. So there's all kinds of information here. And then the nice thing is here at the top, there's a list of related links, and this service bulletin actually has a link to the repair procedures. So from here, it'll actually tell you what you need to do to fix the problem associated with that specific service bulletin. So that's a great source of information. And anything that you find on here, you can print it, you can bookmark it, and if you save your bookmark, so here it'll say that I just set up a new bookmark for 2002 Impreza repair procedures vehicle. I could retitle that. I could say that it goes with that specific service bulletin. So I could say WWK 94 um, repair procedures if I wanted to do that, especially if you're doing some research on either multiple vehicles or a few issues associated with a specific vehicle. And then you'll see here on the right hand side, associated with those repair procedures, are also all kinds of related information that are going to be specific to that car. So it's great. There's all kinds of details and information here. If I go bookmarks, then I can get a link back to that bookmark that I just set. So that's really nice. If I click this link here, it'll take me back to the main page for my vehicle. If I want to change the car I'm looking for information about, I can click Change Vehicle. And then here are recent vehicles that might have been looked up. I actually was looking at this 76 Jeep CJ7 information the other day. So I can pull this up. And if I want to look at, again, you'll see this doesn't have the codes, troubleshooting codes, of course, because this was pre the time of computers being installed in vehicles, but there is still quite a lot of information here, diagrams, especially if it's an older car, which this of course would be. Here is some different diagrams for that specific vehicle, and again, clicking back on the vehicle name will take me back to the main page for that vehicle. So let's go back and we'll change, and let's go back to the Subaru. So of course there's going to be a little bit newer, or more information I should say, about newer vehicles, just because there's so much more information out there in general. One nice thing, especially as if you're a professional mechanic or even the vehicle's owner, are the service tables, so that you can get information on when different components of the vehicle need to be replaced. So that's a really nice look. And then you can get, if you click normal service table, that's what we were looking at. But then here's routine service, so what you should do routinely, especially as the vehicle's owner. This helps at each stop. Do this once a month, as required, every 10 years, inspect the airbag. So there's just a wealth of information here for diagnostic, technical, and repair information for a variety of vehicles. So, and again, this is all under the repair section. If I want to go back to those bookmarks again, I can do that. And here's that repair procedures. You'll see the bookmark here is kind of shaded in. I'm going to go ahead and click it to clear it. And what I would say is make sure you print or somehow review again your bookmarks before you finish your session, just because you want to make sure that you get that information. And it's storing it as a cookie, but it might not necessarily be available the next time you are using the system and using your browser. So make sure you print out those bookmarks, or review them, or get whatever information you need out of any of the bookmarks that you've set, just to make sure. And if you're ever in some information and you want to get rid of the related information, you can always click the X to hide it, or this little button here will hide related information as well. So, and also once we're in repair, you'll see, despite the fact that there's all kinds of information in here, a lot of technical information, systems and components, if you still find there's not the specific information you're looking for, you can click Library Request. You can enter this information. There's a 4-step process in which you enter the vehicle information, what you're looking for, and I'm going to close it just because I'm not going to put in a request right now, but and then they will send you back. So AllData will respond to you if they can find the information. So Library Request is a great resource to reach out to if you've been looking and looking and looking for something and you just can't find it. Maybe it's buried in a place where you don't know how it would be named. I know for myself, I'm not an expert at all on vehicle repair, so I might be looking for something in a totally wrong place. If you need help, use that. And also, there is a search tool here. So, I don't know, airbags, if that was something I wanted to search, it'll search that, and then I can find all the different um, parts of this repair information that has details about the airbags associated with that vehicle. So, for instance, here is a description operation. If I click airbag, this actually talks about how it functions, um, you know, what it does. This is really actually pretty cool information to learn from. So don't forget that that search tool is up there as well. And so I don't know if you remember, but on that main page, we had a link to three main sections: repair, community, and quote. So we just took a look at what's in repair. If we clicked community, I didn't want to open my pop-up, so I'm going to allow pop-ups right now. So in community, this is community where you can actually search by the make and model of the vehicle you're looking for and see if you can find any questions that have been thrown out to the virtual community here in AllData, and any answers that fellow users would have found and answered back. So it's a lot like a support community you might have seen for software support, or device support, computer or PC support, that you might see online. So let's see if we can find 2002 Subaru Outback Impreza Sport. Okay, so let's go ahead and click here. And it looks like there's 5 questions in the community that are associated with that vehicle. So, if you're wondering or you'd like some more information, so here somebody posted in 2014 some information about the engine misfiring and they needed some help, and then somebody else suggested a repair. So here was the verified repair that worked. And if you try it and it works for you, you can say, yes, it worked. So it's a really nice way to also reach out and see if there's other people using AllData Pro that might have encountered a similar problem, especially if it's kind of a weird one, and you could reach out to them. And also associated with that community, I want to show you that once you've selected a vehicle, if you'll see, here we are back at the Subaru, that it automatically tells you how many threads or of comments are going to be in that community. So you'll see when we click here, when we searched for the Subaru, let me go ahead and go back to how I searched Subaru. Okay. I had 5 questions, 5 threads come up, and here you'll see this actually is telling me there's 5 questions out there, and that's another way to link to that community and get information. The nice thing about this is it's very easily categorized by the system, and you can easily see the symptom. So that's another way to find those repair questions in the community and get some information on them. So that's that. That's the repair section. And then quote is actually a really cool tool that enables you to build quotes to send to customers. So if I want to do a new quote, so this is actually more if you are a professional mechanic, and if your shop that you work for doesn't necessarily have its own standardized quoting tool, you can use this to do a quote for a specific type of repair. So I'll select new quote. I'll go ahead and find my export, there we are, and find my vehicle, and then I can add customer information, and then here is where you can add parts and labor, how much, do a quote of how much it would be for these different things that you're working on. So, what they would be um, for your um, customer. So that's an AllData quote. And quite truthfully, not being somebody who's ever written car quotes for anybody, I wouldn't even know what to try to quote somebody, or um, what would be a common thing to pick. So we'll just leave it at that's how you could do your quotes. So that's a really awesome tool. Um, and yes, I want to leave without saving. I'm going to go back to repair. But mostly what you will use AllData for is the repair information. So you'll see recent vehicles here, but primarily to get started, like we did, you choose the vehicle you're working on, and then you're presented with all the information in the database about that vehicle. Again, it's great diagnostic systems information. Different. Here's community repairs on the different codes, and here's diagnostic trouble codes. So here's the code descriptions. So wow, code descriptions, and for the transmission. So it really, as you can see, drills down into details of, you know, level of details for the diagnostic codes, and what the number is, what the item is, what you should do. So this is a great resource for anyone who's doing repair, maintenance, or diagnosing issues on a vehicle. So that is AllData Pro. Now we're going to take a look at Chilton Library. You'll see it's listed right here under Car and Small Engine Repair under the link for AllData Pro. Unlike AllData Pro, Chilton does not have a username and password to get in. Just simply click the link and it'll take a minute, but then it'll go ahead and load. And the first thing you've got to do when you enter the library is select the vehicle that you're looking for information about. So I am going to select the same one that I picked in the last in the last example for AllData Pro, so that you can see the difference of information. So here, actually, the first difference right off the bat is in AllData Pro, my car was actually technically a 2002 Subaru Outback Sport, but it was technically a kind of Impreza. So when I'm looking for information here, I actually need to look for Impreza. Not Outback Sport is not going to come up as an option. So that's just something unique with that vehicle, but it's something to keep in mind that AllData might be a little bit more specific. This is going to be a little more general. So I'm going to click select. So once I have selected the vehicle I want to work with, it'll tell me for the vehicle I'm working with, you can get data on the following: repair, maintenance, estimating the labor, and then service bulletins and recalls. So let's take a look. We'll take a look first at what kind of repair information we get. So for repair information, you'll see you'll be able to find the information under a specific repair topic, or you can search here at the top. So, if we wanted to look at something about the, pardon me, airbag, so I'll type airbag and hit search. And you'll see I'm getting articles related to the airbag and this car. So it's not actually WRX. Here's airbags. So this has information. There's actually videos on here, which is nice. This is a feature that AllData does not have, is Chilton has some videos. So that will sometimes it guides you through repair suggestions, but that's really nice. And I guess it looks like in this instance, that's quite a bit of the information. But then there's precautions here, and here's all kinds of videos as well. So I would need to have a Flash plugin installed on my browser, which it looks like I don't have right now. So at home, just make sure you've got Flash so that it'll show the information. I'm going to go ahead and go back to, I just like to click repair just to kind of clean out the whole search trail that I've followed. And then if I want information on the brakes, I can click brakes, anti-lock braking system, and then here's different information about um, bleeding the brakes, description and operation, and then you'll see there's some diagrams here as well about the brakes for this vehicle. So that's sort of, the repair information. I would say, for your needs, Chilton is probably better for the, home mechanic or somebody who's just starting to work on their vehicle. AllData is definitely a little deeper. And so that's, I think a professional mechanic could use either database, but AllData might be a little bit better for a professional mechanic, but not necessarily. It just depends on your level of comfort with reading the different diagrams and your experience. So that's just something to keep in mind, that you might find that one resource works better for you than another. Also, here there's maintenance. So let's see. So submodel here, it's going to let me pick what I want. So the submodel of my Impreza is, I said I have an Outback. It was an Outback Sport. So I want to say Outback, and then it had an automatic transmission, and I was a normal wear and tear kind of person. So that's kind of nice, the way it lets you sort of ask information. And I think operating condition is nice, because you're going to get scheduled maintenance suggestions based on how you drive that car. So, if you're somebody who's commuting hours a day, you're going to have a different operating condition than I might, who doesn't have a super long commute. So you can enter the mileage you've got on that car. I don't know, let's say I've got 150,000 miles. Um, so 90,000 is the last scheduled interview for this car. So we can go ahead and click the full chart, and this will show you for each mileage interval what services are suggested, and whether or not it's a replacement or a service of that specific part of the vehicle. So that's the maintenance. And if you go back to configuration filter, again, this is where I could reselect that information. So if I wanted to change the operating condition, or I was looking up information about something and I had clicked automatic transmission, but I realized, oh gosh, actually I have a standard transmission, you can click that there as well. So and anytime clicking home will take you back to selecting another vehicle. So if I've looked at the information I want for this and I want to check out a new vehicle, if I select home, that'll let me pick a new one. So that's repair and maintenance. Here's labor estimating. So you can actually do a view operations, which is something, I'd have to do. But if you knew exactly what you were searching for, you can view these different parts of the car and see what it would estimate the time wise, in terms of how much time it's estimating it will take to do the labor on these different parts, depending on what you're doing. You'll see it has one side, both sides of these brakes, what the estimated hours are. So especially if you're working on a quote for somebody, or you're just trying to estimate how much of your weekend it's going to take to work on a specific vehicle, that's a way to get that information. And you'll see here, time category, there's regular or there's severe. So if you're thinking it's going to be a major issue, change the estimated labor hours to severe and see if there's a difference for the topic that you are working on. And again, you'll see here, select a vehicle, so I could select another one if I wanted to. Also, for the vehicle I have selected, it's really nice. It always reminds me at the top what I've got selected. I can also click on bulletins and recalls, and it'll show me that kind of information for this car. So earlier, I think that was the TSB. Yeah. So this was the service bulletin that I had looked up in AllData Pro, and I'm doing a quick search for it, and here you can see I can get the information. on it. The nice feature here is you can listen, so you can have this read it to you. So that's a nice feature for if you're actually working on the vehicle right then. You can actually listen to the details if that's easier for when you're working to hear it instead of worrying about going back to your computer, printing it, reading it. That might be an idea. But again, it's going to be opening a PDF file that I can then open up, and then this is the information about the service bulletin. So it's going to give me all that information, including, the repair instructions. So similar, but just layout is a little bit different. And again, I'm going to go back to repair really quick on, whatever item you're looking at, you can always print. So if I want to print something with the diagnostic trouble codes, here's a 2.5 liter engine. Here I can see, I can check specific codes and print those. I can just print the data for a code that I've been searching for. You can search for the code up here. So let's see if this was the code that my machine kept giving me. I could hit listen to have it read me the information, which is really nice. I could print that code data, so it's going to come up with this information about the trouble code. I'm going to close that. I'm not going to print right now, but this is a really great tool, and especially, if for both professional mechanics and also just, the average person working in their garage at home, if you have a code reader, here's the way you can look up what those codes mean and how to fix them. So those are the major types of information once you pick a specific vehicle, what goes with the vehicle you pick. So again, for Chilton, the main thing to do first is go ahead and select that vehicle, and then from there, these different links along the top will give you the different sets of information for that vehicle. One advantage, I'm going to go home really quick. One of the really nice advantages and a nice thing that's unique to Chilton is that there's also ASE test prep quizzes. So if you are studying or preparing to take the ASE test, this is a great way to practice. So, you'll see that each demonstration contains approximately 15 questions, and you can repeat it as much as you'd like. And it'll actually show you as you go through. So let's say I'm taking A1 automotive engine repair. You can choose your answer for each question, and I'll be honest, I'm just going to just pick something because I want to see, we'll see if luckily I get any right, but I want to show you how it checks your answers. So as I'm going through, and I don't even have to do them all, but as I'm going through, if I scroll to the bottom, I can say check your work, and it will actually tell me, oh, I got 2 right. It'll actually tell me, which ones I got right, and it'll put an X next to which ones I got wrong. So that's a great studying tool that you can use to get you prepared for those tests, for the ASE test. So definitely use that function if you're preparing for those tests. Here's automatic brakes, but yeah, so this is just a great way to make sure you have got a handle on that information, and it'll help you see where you're maybe needing to augment your knowledge just a little bit, where you can add to that. So that's a really great feature. And we're going to go back home here. So if you get stuck, you can always click help, and this will give you the user guide of how to get to information on Chilton. I don't know if you noticed, but also our link from the library's page where we linked to the Chilton Library. Let me show you again really quick. So if I go to library under collections, online research, and then car and small engine repair, you'll see there's a tutorial here too. So, if you get stuck as you're going, you need a little bit of a reminder and you don't have this video handy, there's other ways to get some help as to where, if you might be stuck. And then, like AllData, if you run into a situation where you're not finding the information you need, you can click Ask an Expert, give them an email address, and explain your information, and they will write back to you. Or there's actually a phone number here. You can call them and ask for information. So that's great. Even if you can't find it, you're not totally stuck. Like with AllData, there is a resource to reach out to, I should say, for more information. So that is Chilton Library. Um, and, give it a try. And hopefully that or AllData, one of these two, will help you when you're doing some auto repair.